Hello, my friends. What's up, Caleb? Um, and father. How are you doing, brother? So, you had asked if I can make you a video here, and I'm just gonna kind of do like a panorama shot here, so you can get an idea of how the drums are organized, the angles, all the tripods, how they all fit together, that kind of idea. Now, the most important thing, brother, is that with these tripods, you don't need them far out unless it's holding a lot of weight. Okay? So, let me set this down. So now you can see, look how far up the tripod is. So it was like down to here, and then you move it up, but I mean, it's still sturdy. It's still sturdy, not as sturdy as I want it for a ride, but just showing you how you can kind of, we call it our footprint. So just kind of being smart about your footprint. You've got to figure out how to fit the tripods in. So just kind of it's like, it's playing Tetris. This is, honestly, brother, this is the least favorite part of any drummer's experience, is the tuning and playing Tetris, trying to figure it all out. Okay? So, as you can see here, like this is fully extended here, where this is a little bit less extended. Okay? So you're going to have to play with that. And back to my point, where you're going to see here that, see how this tripod is moving forward? That's holding the weight forward. Okay? So that this doesn't tip, because it's got that leg there preventing it from tipping. That kind of thing. Okay? So that's really important, but that's really only important on your heavier items. Like you can see here, I've got a dog bone clamp with a pole going to it, which then attaches under here, and this is pretty heavy. And then I've got a 20-inch arrow on here, and this is all on one stand. Okay? So that's a heavy stand. Your rides, that's going to be the heaviest cymbal that you're going to have. So for that one, I would suggest putting this leg out just like this before I moved it up and showed you the difference. So I would put it, back a bit further down so you have more stability. That's the last thing you want, is your stands falling over with your $500 cymbals on top of them. Okay? So that's kind of how I have that organized. And then for the crashes, what you can do is same thing, where you want to put the front tripod in the front, so that way when you're hitting the cymbal this direction, it has a little more stability. Okay? And, this is pretty light cymbal, only holding one cymbal. So then that way, you can kind of get an idea of the weight distribution. Now, this is a special mount. Okay? So with your Mapex that you got, you're not going to have to even worry about this. But what I did is I took a stand, I took the top part off, and then I put a tri-clamp on it, a pearl, which has 3 connection points. So one connects to the actual post, and then the other 2 are for rack mounting the toms on top of it. Okay? So this is all just free floating, and you can see it's all just attached to that one stand. Okay? And as you know, I like using a right or a left ride. So I do have a left ride in addition to a right ride. Just because I end up playing a lot of jazz, funk, groove, that kind of stuff. And I always like having a left ride, because then I can do kind of a transition as I go through it from my 21, and it's a K-Sweet 21, over to my 22s and 19s, that kind of thing, just to kind of get a progression as I go across, and to have, like we call it leapfrogging, but leapfrog from one thing to the next, so that way you can easily get around the kit without having to do a major reach, that kind of thing. Playing at home, and we call it playing at home, and then having to reach way over here quick, and then back over here, way over here quick, that kind of idea. So what this allows is that way you can get all of that, plus has a fantastic crash to it. And then I like combining, brights with darks. So I've got everything from Sabian to Peisty to Zildjian to K-Cons, to I already said Sabian, but yeah, you know, the basically like the top symbols people are looking for. So you kind of see my collection over here that I've been piecemealing out and trying to figure out what can I sell and what should I get rid of. But I got some choppers here and a splash. This is an amazing ride. This is a Mino Byzance Tradition Jazz Ride 22. Amazing ride. And then I got an Oriental Crash of Doom. That's a 20. K-Light hats, one of my favorite hats in the entire world. HHX Complex Thin. This symbol I will never get rid of. This is the first symbol that Russell Bazette gave to me. And man, has it been around the block. And now that they're out of business, he'll still make them for you, but it's one guy. And, you know, it takes months and months and months to get it. But this symbol is amazing. It's amazing. It's pretty heavy, and it's more of like a R&B type of symbol. Kind of matches the Coleman, but this is actually more crashable and that kind of thing. Okay, but this isn't about all my symbols. So, but just showing you how, depending on the weight of the symbol, is really going to dictate how you have to set up your footprint. Okay, so the tripods, that's huge. The first thing I would do, brother, is set up the bass drum. The bass drum is the heart of the whole operation. If you get the bass drum in the right position, you put the bass drum pedal on it, then organize the whole rest of your kit around the bass drum. Okay? Because that's going to be the most important part, where you want that nice and solid. You want it right in the middle. You want to be able to easily get to it. That kind of thing. So you want to be able to easily get to that. And yeah, I like my drums really close because, you know, I'm usually playing kind of pigeon-toed. Or I mean, penguin-toed. Or wait, yeah, penguin-toed. I always forget. Pigeon-toed is this way. Penguin-toed is this way. And the reason being, and this is a side note, but just so all of you know out there, I see a lot of people playing straight onto the pedal. That kind of thing where your heel is hitting the heel plate. Try this, guys. Just move your heel out a little bit. Move your heel out to the side a little bit. Now watch. Look at all this room I have. I have all this room to move my ankle. Right? If I'm here, I stop here. That kind of thing. So if you move your ankles out a little bit, so it makes it much easier to play because you have more ankle motion, and you have the ability to get that toe ball for those 16ths, or even, you know, playing triplets or straight 16ths. You know, like 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... that kind of thing, or even triplets. And I'm holding the camera and only have one stick, so. That kind of thing. So, and I'm a huge fan of just single bass drum pedal. That way I can keep the hat going during the whole time. So, you know, I think it's much more beneficial to be able to keep time with the hat while playing 16ths over here, rather than having to use a drop lock clutch and all that. And I promise, if you train your muscle memory, and this is coming from a guy who used to not be able to use his legs for many, many, many years, and, you know, got all this metal in my back and a spinal cord stimulator implant. So if I can do it, and wheelchair drummer can do it, you know, you guys can do it. I know you can do it. Okay? So, and you can see, like, look how sensitive that pedal is. Just love it. Amazing pedal. Okay, so hopefully that helps, Caleb. And you know, you want your hat to, well, comfortable. I like my stuff close. I like being high and close, so everything is in front of me, lower. I don't have to reach high, you know, to come from here to here. I don't have to reach from here to here just to get to my first rack tom. So that makes a huge difference. Last thing I will recommend is this EAD. Okay, this EAD, brother, this thing is worth its weight in gold for Caleb to be able to record, practice, all sorts of stuff like that. I mean, you know, you've seen how we work it here in the garage, but he'd have the capability and his progress would take off really fast if he had an EAD to work with as well. And then he can create all the covers he wants. He can spend any time he wants at home practicing on stuff. He can do, you know, all sorts of different things. And then through here, you can control the entire interface. You can put triggers on. So this is a trigger that has a dual sensor, one for the rim and one for the head. And then what you can do is even get pads like this, which also plug into the EAD. So then you can have a straight, you know, kind of like electric drum set sound. Okay? So there are a ton of options. But yeah, basically you want everything low in front of you. And please, please, please do not adjust your... Let me get this here, sorry. And this is really, really important. Okay, so basically this hoop was about right here before. Now we just raised it. But watch what happens when you come from here. Right, so I have to raise the stick and get this angle to get to the center of the head. That kind of thing, and then look how, if you compare it from this side, you can see how much lower. That kind of thing. So you want to make sure that these are nice and low, and you don't want them angled straight at you, and you don't want them angled up. You want them halfway in between, okay? That's really, really important. So, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is that he's going to have to reach like a good 6 inches just to be able to reach his first floor tom, which makes his flow a lot harder. It makes him, you know, kind of get out of that flow element because he's trying to think too much about like, oh, I've got to get to this drum on the next fill, and, you know, it kind of clutters the mind instead of focusing on, okay, I've got to, you know, focus on this for right now, and don't worry so much about the positioning. As long as I can get there, reliably, that's what matters, okay? So now, if you watch here, let me flip it around. So see now, look how low the hoop is. Not the first time that's happened to me. Okay, so now you come from here. But see how... Now it's a much, much easier reach for him, okay? So you want to angle these in a way where as he goes down the kit, everything is slightly angled towards him or flat, okay? So you can see with my floor toms, they're almost flat. They're just slightly angled towards me, and the way you do that is with the closest floor leg next to you, okay? Because they're going to come with 3. Whoops. They're going to come with 3 all over, right? And you want to put those 2, you want to put the 2 in the back, and you want to put the 1 in the front. Okay? Same thing with this. So then that way I can angle how much of that front angle is coming towards me. Okay? But let me see if I can zoom out here some. Guess that's pretty much it. So as you kind of look at the kit, you can see that it's all about comfort of getting around the kit and getting up the kit, that kind of thing, okay? So, and yes, you know, like I said, my pedals and stuff and everything's pretty close and low to me, so he might enjoy having a little bit further spaced out, but this is definitely the way you want to start to organize it, okay? Then last but not least, I'll show you my Mapex. And yeah, I have 2 racks for this. This is a Mapex Saturn 5. This is like one of the cream of the crop drum sets. But when you're putting just a rack on, see, even with just a rack, you know, there's only that much of a reach. And then as you get further down the kit, it's all easy to reach because everything is in the same plane. Okay? So hopefully that helps, brother. Let me know if you have any other questions, okay? I'm going to go ahead and just upload this to YouTube. Maybe it'll help some other kiddos out there too, trying to figure out how to arrange their drum sets, that kind of thing. But yeah, comfort, number 1. Comfort is number 1. You got to make sure that, because, you know, we say tension is the enemy of flow, right? And I love that saying, but tension is the enemy of flow. And if you're hesitating because you're thinking, oh gosh, I've got to reach 6 inches to this next drum and it's coming up in a bar, and that's when mistakes happen, that kind of thing. You start to overthink it, that kind of thing. With a setup like this, he's able to just, you know, fly around the drum set and easily get his angles to all work with where he's putting his arm, because it's all wrist and motion, wrist and finger motion. It's just putting that arm to that surface. Then you're using wrist and finger motion regardless of where you go. Okay? All right, buddy. I know it's long, but I want to make sure it's comprehensive so that way you get an idea of kind of how to set it up. And then that way, and here's a little secret too, the more fun that Kaleb has on this kit, the passion is going to grow immensely. So if he's struggling and he's like, this is hard to play, or why do I keep hitting the rim? Why am I not getting a good tone? You know, that kind of thing. That can make it more frustrating than something beneficial, and we don't want to do that, right? Because he's such a killer drummer. He's amazing. Amazing. Kaleb just, man, by the time he gets to my age, that kid's going to be so good. So good. So there you go. Just let me know if you have any questions in the comments, or you can text me. But yeah, as far as the room layout, comfortability, and then also being able to get the best sounds out of the drums, I highly recommend that you kind of go for a standard setup more like this. And I know you have 2 bass drums, but at this point, I would just use 1 bass drum just until he gets used to it. And then from there on out, you can always add a 2nd bass drum to it. Okay? So, all right, brothers and sisters, happy drumming. And Merry Christmas. I'll see you on the next one, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.